How's it going, everyone? We're back with another weekly watch list. This is going to be my watch list for this upcoming week in the stock market for day trading specifically. So we're going to be covering SPY, QQQ, Apple, Tesla, Nvidia, AMD, Google, and Amazon. But I am going to kick things off here with ES. Now, I do want to say real quick, there's a lot of world news going on at the moment that I expect to be moving the market. We will see what happens tonight with futures. Okay, that's why I am starting off with ES here, because I feel like there's a little bit of a channel going here. I feel like it's a very obvious trend line happening here. I want to see what happens and kind of give my thoughts. If we do gap down, this is all just speculation and prediction, parody, if you will. I think if we get a gap down, man, I mean, this 6750 is such a clear low. If we gap down with some strength, I wouldn't be surprised if we gap down underneath that low. That would be a very serious gap down. And again, that would be following some very serious things that are happening. So below that, I would see 6,700. What would happen there, really? My next major low is at 66.75. But I did want to point out what we have going on here, right? Kind of this little, it's not the prettiest look, but 4-hour daily, this wedge here, right? Very obvious reactions right? So I do want to see if we do gap down below that, what could happen. But on a smaller time frame, let's head into those. I'll kick things off on SPY. We'll head over to the 1 hour here. So we have our previous day high and our previous day low. Friday was a pretty big chop fest. Luckily, I stuck with Apple. First support underneath this previous day low is down at this 679.93. Okay, there's been a lot of buying here, buying down here. I do not really like shorts in this entire area here, right? Like I would not be shorting into this. Why is my screen? There we go. This area here. This is like a no trade zone. Disgusting over here. Every single time it's been bought up. So for shorts, I'm not just going to be looking underneath previous day low. I would rather see it underneath this 679.93, most likely even under this 679.15. Now, again, if we gap down, like we'll already be underneath this. So the large part of this watch list today has to do with how the futures open up. And just looking at this right here, right? Like potentially another bear flag looking wedge here, okay? As far as upside goes, I'll watch calls over the previous day high. I do like for a move back up to these former daily highs at 690.10, and then above that we do have 4-hour supply, right? We had this 4-hour supply that we came up and tested, made a new 4-hour supply. So check it out. There's supply and demand there for you. Supply came up, sharp rejection here, made a higher low. I'm sorry, lower high, sharp rejection, and made even another 4-hour supply. So we do have more 4-hour supply up here at 692.40. So we'll see what happens there. Let's go over to QQQ, or maybe I should even go to NQ, honestly, if we look at the futures. I mean, you can see it right off the bat. Like, look at the 4-hour here. I don't know, does that not stand out to anyone else? Right? Again, like I don't trade based off all these wedges and all this shit, but, it's not the prettiest look. Hold on, my computer is not clicking. I don't know what is going on. There we go. Not the prettiest look, but there's something there. I mean, that looks like a little bit of a bear flag, or a lot of it, to be honest, being fully real with you. I just don't want to hyper obsess over, a wedge. But just looking at the 4-hour here, same thing here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's just something I have in mind. If we gap down below with all the news going on, I think that possibly, there could be some major downside here, which is fine. That's how stock market works. So let's go over to QQQ. You don't need to panic. Oh my gosh, losing all my money. This again is also just a day trading watch list. So as far as QQQ goes, I'll be watching calls over the previous day high. Not my favorite look though, once again, right? We have these other major daily highs here. You can see it a little bit more on the 1 hour here, right? High, low, high, high. So not a ton of space. I'd rather us get over 610.43 for calls up to that 4-hour supply. Same thing we had on SPY. As far as downside goes, there's a little bit more room here, but I don't want to be shorting into the December low underneath the previous day low at 627. So I'd rather see price underneath 599.72 and 599. And then we just have this one pivot right here. So that's not really a major area. It's just one intraday pivot from last week. Like I can pull it up on the 20-day, 15-minute. Just this pivot right here. This is from not even last Tuesday, the week before that. So yeah, I'll definitely be watching downside under 599 down to 593. Again, if we get a bigger move because of the futures, where I'll be looking for downside targets, we have major lows here at 587 and we have the November low at 580. If we actually get a legitimate major downside move because of this news, I would expect it to be under November's low, right? For a possible move back down to September's low at 558.84. All right. So anyways, all speculation at the moment. Who the hell knows? It could rip to the upside. All right. Apple. Apple was beautiful. Took that on Friday. Caught not this entire move down. I mean, the rest of the move happened after I got up off the desk, but it was a PDL rejection. Can't even remember the exact time. Maybe if I see it on the 2-minute, I'll be able to remember the exact price. Yeah, it was here. Once we closed under here, my entry was after this candle here. So this VWAP in the 2-minute 13 was right here. PDL was up here. We closed back under the PDL, which was 270.50. So when price pushed back up on this candle, this was my entry here. Caught this move down, caught this move down. Stopped out of my position here on my final contract at 11:02. Was done for the day there, one and done, obviously, as always. And then, of course, we got this entire move back down here. But again, I'm not, I just was not letting that contract out. It invalidated for me, but, did miss a nice move the rest of the day, but all good. I don't care. So as far as Apple goes, previous day high, previous day low, pretty big range. We have some pivots in between. So as far as, I believe, is there a 4-hour supply up here? Let me see real quick. Yeah, so we have a 4-hour supply up with the previous day high, right? So I'll be watching that area if we do get back up here. I get for rejection. All right, we'll mark this out real quick. And it was this. And we also have that previous day low in there as well from Thursday. I'm keeping up there as well, just for more confidence. Like the PDL right here, we have the 4-hour supply. That'll be an area for rejection I'll be watching, again, if we get all the way back up there. As far as just intraday levels go, I'll watch for upside over this pivot here at 266.92. Former lows, turn to high intraday on Friday, back up to that supply. As far as downside goes, we zoom out a little bit here. As far as downside goes, I'll be watching puts underneath the previous day low, which also happens to be this 4-hour demand. If we get under this 262.17, I'll definitely be watching for move back to this weekly high at 260, which has been very prominent since the weekly high has been there. And that weekly high I'm referring to is right here. There's been many, I know it doesn't look very clean on the weekly, but on smaller time frames, there's been a lot of action there. So I'll watch puts underneath the previous day low. Next support down 258.17. I'm not going to show Tesla. I've been showing it in the watch list recently, but again, I update the levels every day, but I'm not trading it, so I'm just not going to show it. Let's go over to Google and Amazon. Google, pretty simple game plan here. Previous day high, previous day low. For upside, I'll watch over the previous day high, but also over 313.67. I will absolutely be aware of this fake out here as well. To be honest, because look, I hate when this happens. Like we have the previous day high right here, a little bit of the fake out here. So what I'll do is I'll probably just do this because I'm really not going to want to long into this. So I'll add just like a little pivot level here. All pivots for me, I just put in a lighter shaded gray line just so I know that there is something there. So we'll do that. There's our next previous day high. But above that, we also have this really key 314.95. So that was this level up here, right? This pivot from last Monday. So really, like, if we get over previous day high and we get over this 313.67, I'll definitely be watching upside for calls. I'll just be aware, okay, because it's also this 1-hour supply zone. I'll be aware for 314.54 to 314.95 to clear, honestly. Yeah, I mean, the pivot is like, I might even just take it off at this point. Let's see. Like, I mean, it was a pivot high here. It was a pivot low here. I mean, honestly, I'm going to remove it. It makes me overthink. Like, if we get over this pivot, I'll be confident in calls. That's definitely worth the stab for me. As far as downside goes, really needs to be underneath 300. Needs to be underneath 300 and underneath the daily 100. Okay, which I have 2 currently marked out, so I need to fix that real quick. Let's go over and do that real quick. Well, I actually am curious. Daily 100 is at this level. Actually, we're now getting over this. So yeah, I don't want to be short into the daily 100. We really need to break below this. So here, I can get rid of this one. So Underneath the daily 100 and the PDL and 300, I'm much more confident in shorts down to 296.25. All right. So let's move over to Amazon. Amazon leaps still cooking, letting those go. So those have been nice. They're up about like 20. I have two going. I think one's up about like 22%. The other one's up like 15%. One for June, one for next January. So previous day high, previous day low, pretty big range. I'll watch shorts underneath the previous day low down to 200, 310. That's about it, because underneath that I have a no trade zone. Okay, all the way down to 201.01. If we get under that, then I'll be interested in downside again under 196. But as far as upside goes, I'm not interested until we get over 212.81. Right? So we have all this resistance up here. I want to see us get over 212.81, right? And start to work to undo this earnings drop, right? Get back to that earnings high of 227. That's pretty much my main target, or this daily gap at 222.69 for the leaps. All right, I'll probably let the January one go longer than that, but the June one, I'm looking to take up to this daily gap here at 222.69. And the daily looks really good. Made a low, made a higher low, basing twice. Honestly, Amazon looks really good for upside. So we'll see what happens. And let's go to AMD and NVIDIA. AMD and NVIDIA both been diabolical recently. Had the news with the meta news here. It's just been crap since. Previous day high, previous day low. I'll watch that. Over the previous day high, I'll watch upside up to 205.05, and then above that up to 210, 209. As far as downside goes, it's really still the same thing. It's this 193.72, this daily low here. If you can see it on the daily. Let's go to the daily real quick. This daily low right here. If we get underneath this daily low, I'll be interested in puts again back down to that double top former yearly high at 186.65. So underneath this daily low from February 5th is where I'll be interested in puts again. If we zoom into the lower time frames, it's right here, 194.15, 193.72. That is where, if we get underneath this, I'll be watching downside. All right, there's a lot of things here. AMD, I've put this on many watch lists now. Big gap. Will it get it? It just seems more and more likely. I mean, look at the last week. Like, bears look like to be in full control of AMD at the moment. So my main watch here for a leap as well, right, is we already retested this on the 4 hour, right? These former yearly, weekly highs. It was a double top high on the 4 hour. If we get down there again, I'll look for another bounce there again, of course. It only bounced in the pre-market last time, so I wasn't able to actually catch a trade there, which was nice. But underneath that, we have the daily gap, right? Let's go to the daily real quick. This daily gap down here at 171. That is 100% going to be the spot right here. 171. That's a pretty big move, but like if AMD is really going to fill this gap it had from that news it had in October, then this is the spot to be. This daily gap to fill and look for it to add leaps there. That would be epic. That is a trade I am looking forward to if we get it, and I will absolutely be taking it. No questions asked for sure. So yes, we have some stuff along the way, like the daily 200 there, 180, and some other former daily highs here. But this is the spot. We can see it on the 4 hour where we bounced that last time. It was this daily top, double top here on the 4 hour. 1, 2, we bounced it perfectly right here. Again, it was just not during open hours. So we'll see what happens. I mean, kind of got a little bit of a little wedge look here as well. 1, 2, so we'll see what happens there. And then NVIDIA is dead to me. It's just been so shitty. I mean, it honestly, like on an intraday level, just trades so bad now. It's just obviously now at this point just been stuck in this channel since July. Like, it's just diabolical. I mean, we had the earnings pop. Again, earnings pop here, sold off the entire thing, chopped, stayed in this channel. Earning pop here, right back into the channel. Like, it's just diabolical. We have all these highs up here, up around this 200 level. It's where we rejected on the earnings pop, and we've just sold off the entire time. It's just been awful. So unless, of course, you're just chasing puts, then I guess you're a millionaire. But like for day traders with an edge, it's just not ideal. So as far as downside goes, I'm not shorting into the daily 200 at 174.62. We also have some demand into that. It's really not unless we get under 170. Like, I'm not interested in downside. This all looks like bounce territory to me, but like after all this downside, I'm not taking a shot down here on that. on anything short term at least. If we get to 170 and we want to bounce that again and stay in this channel, then maybe there's a swing opportunity there, right? Maybe we want to bounce 170 down here again and take that for a swing. But who knows? If we get under 170, then we finally are breaking out this channel a little bit, right? So maybe we go back and retest these weekly highs here. Previous all-time high, 153.13. It's been watching this for a long time. So maybe we finally get that. Maybe we finally break out of this range and we finally retest here. And then NVIDIA turns back to good form and we go back to all-time highs. So that's going to wrap it up. Long watch list today. All right. Appreciate you guys listening to me yap. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. If you did enjoy, please consider dropping a like, comment, sharing the video, subscribing to the channel. It would mean the absolute world to me. Hope you all have a great week inside out, outside the market. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next watch list. Peace.